can be in a country where people have such different worldviews, but we can come together in a building, have our disagreements, have our fights, maybe one day share a meal together, but we're able to do those kinds of things, and that is actually a testament to how lucky we are and how few people around the world have that.
Well, I've got a gift for you, Sam, for saying such kind words about what we're doing, mate. Thank you very much.
Well, no, I actually, let's just be clear. I came here today. This is meant to be, I think, a brown paper bag.
Correct.
All right. A lesser man would have shown up with a snack pack, but I wasn't going to do that to you guys. No, I thought that would be kind of unfair, but I just do want to point out, I cut to Canberra by driving here on my own pay. I hope you guys didn't use taxpayer funds to fly.
No, I drove as well.
You drove, Ryan. Maybe we can share a car ride home together.
Yes.
I'm
going that way, you're going that way.
We knew you'd take that in the right spirit.
Yeah, that's not an offer for me to come with you in the car.
Well, you can welcome to.
I might be able to have a good conversation with you and get your head around some good policy for the country.
Can you imagine what people would say if a cop car pulled us over, going down, and said, "Who's in this car? It's Pauline Hanson and Sam Dastiari driving to Sydney together." That would send the Canberra rumour mill crazy.
I know, it's not
Are
going to
you
happen.
about to defect?
No, well, there's been enough defections this week already. I knew you guys were taking some pretty funny candidates out there. I thought there was a lie to where you guys were going to go. I mean, you took the 9/11 candidate.
Stop backing up, mate. Come back in this way. Come on.
You took the 9/11. And now, by the way, I've got to say, 2 Queensland candidates that you dumped was the right thing to do. I do think you should still dump the 9/11 candidate, the one who thinks that 9/11 was not real or a conspiracy or whatnot, and a few of them in WA, and we can talk about that. But
do you think I'd take your advice on that?
I think you should. I think when it comes to the fact that someone is out there saying that they dispute whether or not 9/11 was done by Islamic terrorists.
Well, everyone knows the Chinese did it. Right?
I thought they had a Harold Hall.
Oh, Harold Hall.
No, seriously though, I think you've got some candidates. Look, I assume you didn't bring me on to.
No, you're not on my candidate selection committee.
Well, I
think
think I'll get some better candidates. Some of these candidates worry me.
It's not. Don't worry about it, Sam. You won't have
no,
to deal with them.
Right? Look, I'm here to help. I've come here to try and help you guys.
I'm here to help
Is he not
too.
in government, is he?
Right? I really want to help you. The Labor Party needs a lot of help.
Well, look,
The Greens more.
There was actually this one moment this week.
It's all relative.
Things got very bad this week, actually. There was this one point where
You were promoted.
I was voting with Malcolm Roberts, and by the way, well, you know what they said? They said that the One Nation whip was you, and they said we need a heavy hitter right now from the Labor Party to be able to whip you right back.
Okay.
Congratulations. I think.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Everyone can see now that I'm taller than you at last, right?
This is not no, you're not. What are you talking about?
Of course I am.
And by the way, can I point this out? It is 40 degrees right now in the middle of Canberra at 6:20 p.m. How is climate change not real?
Take your jacket off.
We can go back
How is
100.
climate
It was
change
warmer
not real?
120 years ago, Sam.
What about the science?
Just go to the data, mate.
What about the empirical evidence?
That's exactly it.
What
Go to
about
the
the
science.
empirical
I'm
evidence?
telling you the science, but you won't listen.
Well, I've actually brought a whole folder with some science for you.
You're the
Okay,
only
good.
one here. Your
No
coat's still
props.
on.
No more props.
They're smarter than what you are. Let's look at your coat
I'm
on.
trying to stay. I'm trying to promote Australian fashion here.
Is that made in Australia?
I hope so. It's made in Italy, I believe.
Listen, okay, what's been the highlight of your week in the Parliament? Why don't you tell the
No,
people what
honestly,
you
I think what was really interesting this week is, no, seriously, what happened with Corey, I think is an interesting indication of where politics may or may not be going. I think the right of politics is a much more interesting place at the moment in terms of when you get beyond the Liberal Party or outside the Liberal Party.
Are they
than
on
it
the
is
right?
On the left. You're definitely on the right.
No. The Liberal Party, is it on the right?
I think we have a very different interpretation of what the right is.
Yeah, we do.
If you don't believe the Liberal Party is on the right.
Their policies are similar to yours.
I think not enough of their policies are similar to ours. That's my problem with the Liberal
I see.
Party.
Okay.
I mean, Mitch is on the same, probably closer to me in the Liberal Party than some of his Liberal colleagues.
No, don't say that about me, please.
I mean, I know that in a free
Not
vote,
true.
Mitch would vote for
Not
marriage
true.
equality in a free vote, right? Wouldn't you? What's your position on that?
I support a plebiscite, Sam.
Oh,
You
no,
know
sure,
that.
but what's
You
your
know
position
that.
in a plebiscite? How would you vote?
No,
Look,
you do it like everyone else at the ballot box.
That's-
You vote at the ballot box.
Actually,
A
you think it should be a
plebiscite.
secret?
Yeah.
How parliamentarians'
That's how-
positions on things like
That's
marriage
how
equality.
it is. That's why we're having a plebiscite. If
Well, we're
you
not
do-
having
if
a
you-
plebiscite.
If you're doing a vote on for a parliament, then everyone knows the way that you vote.
Shouldn't
We are not entitled to a special
legislation,
vote to any other Australian. And this is such a social issue that it should go to the people. The people have a right to have a say in this.
And Bill Shaw
And so-
needs to have
so
that
anyway.
view too.
Okay. Well, I'll tell
But there
you,
should be a
look,
plebiscite.
look, we're
Anyway.
not going to agree on this. My view is that we parliamentarians get paid to do a job, and we have treated marriage the same way. No, we've treated marriage the same way, as in done it through legislation for 100 years. I don't believe we should treat it differently because of marriage equality. I don't think we should treat it any differently or put laws that any different just because it's 2 men or 2 women. Again, other
Okay,
people are
well
not going
then,
to agree on that.
well then
So
where do you
what-
go with multiple marriages? What's your view on that?
I think it is a very, very hurtful and dangerous thing to start equating polygamous kind of marriages with loving gay and lesbian couples who've been raising kids together. No, I think there is a line. I think that is the line, and I think that's going
but that's
to. I
still
think
marriage.
that's
But what's your view about multiple marriages?
Of course, I oppose that. I think if
Well,
two
that-
people love each other, to me, marriage is this:
Yeah, but what you're
two people who love each other.
But what you're saying, would you please come up here? You keep backing away from me. What I keep saying is, okay, it's a plebiscite, and in the plebiscite, you can actually define marriage between the same sex or an opposite sex couple. That's
Yep.
defined in it. Then we know where we stand in the parliament, and the people know. What we're doing is we put that in concrete and set there. Then you can't introduce multiple marriages, because if you allow the parliament to vote on same-sex marriage, who's to say the same parliament cannot vote and change on multiple marriages?
But that's a ridiculous argument. That any parliament can do that right now. I mean, that's just a legislative.
But that's
look,
where it
let's
would
be honest.
go. So
A
you
plebiscite is not in the constitution. A plebiscite is just an indication of the will of the people.
Correct.
We agree
so
on that.
Yes,
Right.
a referendum. I'd like to see a referendum to change under the Marriage Act of Section 51, where it does define just the word marriage and define
So
under
you
that
would like to
constitution what
see
the word marriage
You
means.
would like to see a referendum
Yes.
to
To
change marriage. Okay.
the word to what it is.
The reason
defined
I
as.
disagree with that
Yeah.
is that I believe that for 100 years, the parliament has been what has defined what has been all the different types of heterosexual marriage and how heterosexual marriage has changed. Right? The laws have consistently been reformed over the past 100 years, and the parliament's done that. I think treating it completely differently and making it a constitutional matter when it's not a constitutional matter, just because we're talking about two people who may love each other from the same sex as opposed to from another sex.
Marriage is a constitutional matter. It's defined in our constitution.
No, the word marriage is, not what marriage is. What marriage is not
And
defined
that's-
in our constitution.
Now, that's what the Irish constitution did. They actually defined in
No,
their
they
constitution when
needed
they had
to
a
do it via the
referendum.
constitution because
That's right.
because what was
Fine.
in their constitution.
See,
That's
there's,
right.
there's something else
So
too,
anyway,
Sam and Pauline. I
that's-
think that if you two represent the vote, the debate in Parliament, right? At the end of that, no one outside Parliament has changed their mind, and they still have that fraction.
But you
hang
can
on,
say that for
fraction.
every
No,
piece
no,
of
no. Hang on,
legislation.
Sam.
So
hang on,
that's
Sam.
why
yeah, you can. But
we
some things are
pose-
highly significant socially, and what happens is if the people have a vote, that's the end of it. The people who oppose what you're talking about, they will accept it because the people have said it. And I think it unites people into, dare I say it, one nation. Okay?
And a plebiscite is the ultimate form of free vote. You know, we're here from Labor
Aren't
to
you-
get free
aren't
vote.
you
Well,
interested in the
a
will of the
plebiscite is the
You
people?
had
ultimate
a
form of free vote.
5.5-hour caucus meeting. That the only thing you could come up with as a compromise to deal with your own internal divisions was this. Now, if Miss Hanson here is going to, if it's been a party position, and I've read your policy document, the referendum position has been a position of yours. I disagree with it. I believe we can do marriage equality now. I believe we should do marriage equality now. I get insulted when you have television shows like Married at First Sight that go around and treat, that these kind of stunts for television ratings of people getting married, and that people I know who love each other, who happen to be gay and lesbian, aren't able to get married. I find that highly offensive.
I've got no problem with that. I think everyone should have a right to live their life in peace and happiness, whatever they want to, whether it's male or female. That's fine.
Then
But
why not just legislate in there now?
No,
We
because
could have
this
been voting
because this
tomorrow.
needs to be
We
a
will be
debate.
spending
No,
$160
because
million,
you are
which will be dividing this nation.
because you think it should come
No,
down to
unite the
226 people on the floor of
I
Parliament
believe
and
we elect
disagree,
a parliament
regard
for
and
a
disagree.
purpose. We elect a parliament
Anyway,
for
we're
a
not gonna
purpose.
get anywhere
This is
tonight.
our job. This is our job. This is what we get paid to do. The same argument can be made for any tough decision. I think for a lot of these guys on the conservative side of politics, frankly, it's been a cop-out. But anyway, we're not going to agree on this, so if we want to move on, or I can keep going.
Let's let Sam have the last say. In other words, that's the end of it.
But Miss Hanson, seriously, the selection committee, please let me on. please let me on. Some of these candidates, we can get rid of them.
Oh, we're back to that again.
We can get rid of some of these candidates.
So there's
some of
nothing-
these WA candidates of yours.
You are not
Please.
going to get the last say on that one.
Please.
I
Just
think
cut them.
We've got some great candidates. I really have, and I'm looking forward to the WA election. And you know,
I have that crazy pasta.
You know what I think? You know what I think? When he wants to take control of our candidates, always beneath control is fear. He's afraid because we don't have to stick to a party position because there isn't any dominant
Only
power.
thing I'm
There are no
afraid of
power
is the
brokers
heat.
in our force. We just say what we want to say within the party room and then decide things.
I just don't want you
And I
guys
think
to get
you're
embarrassed
afraid of
with
free
candidates
speech,
and bad
mate.
candidates.
You don't like people voting in a plebiscite and you don't like free speech in our party.
Anyway,
The
so-
only thing that worries me is the heat and climate change.
Well, you know,
We're gonna
so-
give you more heat on climate change.
You know, talking about candidates, you went through a pretty rough time the last year, didn't
Well, I
you?
think
with
we've
the
all
Chi-
gone through
yeah,
some
with
rough
the
times.
Chinese.
I think
that,
we've all gone
you
through
know,
some pretty rough times.
you know something? If you were my candidate and went through that, I would have got rid of you.
Really, Miss Hanson, I would have got rid of you this week for coming out and supporting what you said about Russia was so offensive. What you said about supporting Vladimir Putin with the victims of MH17.
No.
When you look
No.
at those people, I saw the comments.
No.
I saw the transcript.
They said, "What do you think of Putin?" And I said, "I like him. I think he's a
You
strong
like
leader."
him? You like him?
I do.
What is there to like
Will
about
you
him?
stop backing up?
He's a tyrant. He's a murderous tyrant.
I like him as a person who stands up for his country and he fights
By
for his
shooting
country.
down
I don't
Australian
think
players?
Sam's auditioning
As
for
a,
shadow foreign
as a
minister somehow.
strong, you know, a strong
By
leader
shooting down Australian-
for his
shooting
country.
down players like
You're
MH17?
picking out something. Do you think that everything that our prime ministers have done has been in the best interest? You know, everyone has done something. I'm not saying I support him for what he's done there,
We're not
but
gonna go
there.
overall,
When you look- that was
overall,
Bill's
as a
week.
person
I thought Bill had a great
who is
week. Really?
strong and stands up for his country.
And when
Thank
you
you. I
look,
wanna
and,
say
and Sam,
thank
when you
you
look
for
at what
having
the
me on.
IMF
It's
and the
actually-
World Bank did to Russia, crippled it in the late 1980s and early 1990s, Putin is standing up to them, and that's showing that
All right,
he
thank you
protects
for having
the
me.
No,
people.
hold on, one last question. I asked Mitch what he'd like to achieve. What do you, the Labor Party, want to achieve?
What do we want to achieve?
What would you like
in this
to-
term or long term?
Well, yeah.
I'll tell you what I personally believe. I
what
think
would
that's
you
probably
see?
a better thing. I think my worldview and your worldview probably are going to be fairly different. I want to see a larger, more harmonious, better connected, multicultural Australia.
I have no problem with that.
Well, in the multicultural, I want people
Yeah, but
to be
we're
Australians.
multiracial, but at the bottom line,
multiracial,
we're
multi-religion,
Because
yeah.
multiculturalist
Look-
is just having all your tribal, everyone sticking to their
We
own
have a very
culture.
different view of multiculturalism, but we're not going to
Yeah.
resolve that now.
No.
Thank you for having me on.
All right.
That's
thanks.
actually very.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you. This is the first time we've actually properly had a conversation.
Oh, there was that Q&A.
No,
that
no,
was a
but
bit,
that was-
that was a bit tense. That was a bit
that was
tense.
I've forgotten about that.
Yeah.
That was
So keep the bromance going, man.
Yeah, well, mate, this guy's killing it on social media. He keeps sending me back love messages and that. It's getting weird.
Oh, you started that. And I still am taller than you.
Yeah, he says that to all the boys.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Thanks.
See you, Sam.
All right. Yeah, thanks. Thanks
Pauline.
also,
No-
Mitch. It's
no worries,
lovely.
bro.
So,
Good work with you.
What a hard act to
Well-
follow.
well, as we said, we're following up about the omnibus bill that's coming on. And then we've got the Australia Post, Wilma, another
Oh,
big...
yeah. Tell people about that.
So what's happening with Wilma is that's a foreign-owned company that owns 4 mills up in the Burdekin, which is North Queensland, and they're actually...
Big sugar producer.
It is. And see, the cane growers have to sell to Wilma because they own the rail, and they have to sell their product to the closest mill. Once a cane grower cuts the cane, it takes about only 12 hours. They've got a window of opportunity to get it to the mill to get crushed and the sugar. So then what's happening is Wilma is not doing the deals with the cane cutters. So the cane growers must have a cane agreement to sell their cane to Wilma. Now Wilma has to have an ongoing marketing agreement with QSL, and Wilma won't do that agreement with QSL. So that it's getting to a point now, at the pointy end of it, the cane growers need that agreement for marketing, and they're not signing up. So nearly 85% of the growers haven't signed up to Wilma. They have to be signed up by the 28th of February. And Wilma, I think, is just, they're not wanting to sign them up because they want to handle marketing, and I think it won't get the good price for the cane growers and their sugar. So this is something that I'm trying to deal with and try and help the cane growers with this. It's not right. The legislation wasn't done right in the state government, and I've spoken to the federal here about it and trying to see if we can get some answers for them. But anyway, that's another big one that we're going on about.
It raises another point, and that is the farmers are where things start in this country. And the farmers are being smashed by everyone. They're getting smashed
Yeah.
on farmers' property rights. They're being stolen off them. That's just stealing. and they're also being controlled by native vegetation acts, and they're just not getting a fair go, the farmers.
Yep. But anyway, we've had a great week. Good start to it, full on. Thanks to all my staff, I think they do a fantastic job. Our offices are extremely busy. We've had a lot of meetings this week, and I had a meeting, with a lot of the ministers and the Prime Minister this week. So it's been really good. And as Mitch said, they find us very easy to work with. Our doors are open, we listen to their legislation, we go through it with them, and I think that's the best way. And if we don't agree with their legislation, we actually say it. We don't vote with them. But we're getting good feedback from the people who think that we're doing a good job in representing them, so that's what it's all about. Sometimes we're not always going to get it right. You're not going to always agree with us and how we vote, but it's not an easy job. It's a tough job and big decisions to be made. But
I think it's important to share with people that they say we're getting it right and that we are easy to work with. It doesn't make us easy, but what they like is we don't horse trade. We just say that's what we like, that's what we don't like, let's keep going with this, let's fix this up. And they know where they stand with us. They don't get any bullshit coming out of us. They get straight, and they love that.
They've done a good job too. Yeah.
Next week I've got the private members bill being finalised in the Senate on the changes to the Human Rights Commission, but we'll keep you posted on that next week when it's finalised.
And I'm following up about the Australia Post as well and what he gets paid. So I've already had talks with Mitch Fifield, Minister, today about that. So I've got them, chasing up, and I'm getting some information on that about the remuneration. So things aren't right there. So I'll keep following that through. And
I just want to make a comment that when we heard about the Charters Towers farmers and having their land stolen by the Department of Defence, we went up there first. Sean Black and I went up there. And we listened to those farmers, and we put together that material. We sent it down to our staff, Pauline, and they did a really good research job and gave you a brief, and you went up there well briefed, and you really took it on fantastically. But it all started with those farmers, and Sean and I were amazed at how disciplined they were, how responsible they were. They weren't just whinging about taking it somewhere else. They were coming up with alternatives. They recognised the defence had its needs, and the way they've done it has been so professional. And so we can be really proud of being associated with them.
Well, it's wonderful to tune in. Just to tell you, the party's moving ahead in leaps and bounds, and I'm really thrilled with that. The next state I'm looking at getting registered in is New South Wales and Tasmania at this stage. So if you are actually from there, actually anywhere in Australia, because I do want to get Victoria and South Australia and the Northern Territory also registered. So if you'd like to actually join, please go to the onenation.com.au website. You can download a membership form there. If you're from both Tasmania and New South Wales, please download both forms that needs to be filled in there, because the Electoral Commission are very strict on this and they need to be filled in properly. But have a look at that. Love to have you on board, because your membership allows us to actually get the parties registered in those states so we can stand candidates in the next state elections that you have. But it's thanks for your support. If you have joined, it's very much appreciated, because that helps us run our head office, and all the staff we're putting on now. It's amazing. It's cost us an absolute fortune. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Great to have your company. I hope you've learned a little bit more. Sam,
he forgot his
sense of humour.
He forgot his paper bag.
Great sense of humour.
He forgot his bag.
I did too.
Yeah.
He wouldn't take that with him.
We'll take it and give it to him.
Look, this is what it's all about. Regardless of politics, what side it's on, we are very open to try and work and have a working relationship with whoever, whether it's Liberal or Labor, and it's great to have that. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.